The battlefield was quiet now. Smoke rose from the ruins of broken ships and shattered walls. Fires still burned in the distance, and the ground was covered with the remains of war machines. The war had ended here hours ago, but the scars of it lingered like a wound that would never heal. Marcus, a lone human scavenger, walked carefully among the wreckage. He wore a battered suit patched together from different worlds. His helmet visor glowed faintly, scanning for anything valuable. Spare power cells, fragments of technology, or even forgotten weapons. He had learned to survive by searching the ruins left behind after alien battles. Most people stayed far away from such places. They said the battlefields were haunted by restless spirits or filled with deadly traps. But Marcus had never cared about ghost stories. What he cared about was survival. He needed food, credits, and scrap metal to sell. And war zones often had plenty if one was brave enough to search them. But today, he found something far more than broken metal. At first, he thought it was just another statue or fallen warrior. A tall figure lay collapsed on a cracked stone platform, half covered in dust. Two long energy swords glowed faintly, still embedded in her back, their hilts carved with alien runes. No ordinary soldier would be left like this. This was a punishment, a message. Marcus froze. He had heard stories of the alien royals, the highborn warriors of the Kylari Empire. Their leaders were said to be untouchable, worshipped like gods. Yet here was one of them, abandoned, dishonored, left to die with ceremonial blades in her back. Her breathing was shallow, but it was there. Her chest rose and fell faintly, a sign that life clung to her body even in this ruined place. Marcus hesitated. He could walk away. No one would know. Helping her could bring him trouble, and more than trouble, death. The Kylari were proud, cruel to outsiders. If her people found him near her body, they would blame him. But then her eyes opened. They were bright silver, glowing faintly in the smoke-filled air. Pain filled them, but also something else, desperation. She looked at him, not as an alien princess, but as a living being clinging to her last hope. Human. Her voice was weak, trembling. Why do you stare? Finish it, or leave me. Marcus shook his head slowly. I don't kill the dying, he said, his voice low. And I don't leave them either. She laughed, bitter and broken, though it came out as a weak cough. Then you are a fool. Do you not know who I am? These swords are my shame. They are meant never to be removed. To touch them is death. He walked closer despite her warning. His boots crunched over broken stones as he knelt beside her. The swords hummed with energy as if alive. His visor flashed a warning. Hazard detected. Unknown energy field. Potential lethal contact. He ignored it. I've pulled worse things out of broken machines, Marcus said, almost as if trying to convince himself. A couple of swords won't stop me. Her silver eyes widened slightly. She did not understand him. She expected him to fear her, to fear the curse of the blades. Yet this human, who should have been terrified, only spoke with calm determination. Marcus reached out. His gloves shook as his hands wrapped around the first hilt. The moment his skin touched it, pain shot through his arm like fire, his visor filled with warnings. He grit his teeth, holding on despite the burning sensation. The princess gasped softly. Stop, you will die. But Marcus did not stop. He pulled with all his strength, muscles straining. The sword resisted as if it were alive, as if it wanted to remain buried in her back. His body shook, but slowly, inch by inch, it loosened. Then with a flash of light, the sword tore free. Marcus staggered back, breathing hard. His glove smoked, his arm numb. But he held the blade in his hand. It was heavier than any weapon he had ever touched, yet it pulsed faintly with power, almost like a heartbeat. The princess gasped again, her body trembling from the sudden release. Blood stained her armor, but her breathing grew a little stronger. She looked at him with disbelief. No one, no Kylari would dare. She whispered. Marcus did not answer. He simply knelt again and reached for the second sword. Enough, she begged, her voice breaking. One is enough. Leave the other, or it will kill you. He looked at her, then at the sword still stuck in her back. His jaw tightened. If you're still alive, then both of them are killing you. I'm not leaving one behind. Her eyes widened again, this time not with disbelief, but with something else. Something she had not felt since her betrayal. Hope. The second sword was worse. The moment he touched it, pain shot through his chest, his heart pounding like it was going to explode. His vision blurred. He wanted to let go, but he forced himself to hold on. His muscles screamed. His blood felt like fire. With one final pull, the blade came free. Marcus fell to one knee, gasping for air. His helmet alarms screamed at him, but he silenced them with a rough tap. The second blade clattered beside him. The princess lay still, her body shaking. Then slowly, she pushed herself onto her elbows. For the first time in what felt like forever, she was free. "You," she whispered. "You should not be alive." Marcus smirked weakly, though sweat dripped from his forehead. "Humans are stubborn. We don't let go easily." She looked at him for a long moment, her silver eyes studying him as if he were something impossible. Then slowly, she nodded. "You saved me. A human saved me." Marcus stood carefully, sliding the two swords onto the ground beside her. "Don't thank me yet. You're still bleeding, and whoever did this to you might come back." For the first time, a faint smile touched her lips. It was small, broken, but real. "Perhaps you are a fool, human. But you are a brave fool." Marcus extended his hand to help her up. For a moment, she stared at it as if she had never seen such a simple gesture. Then slowly, she reached out and took it. The battlefield was still burning around them, but something had changed. A human scavenger and a fallen alien princess stood together, bound not by duty or power, but by an act of defiance that neither of them fully understood yet. In that moment, the galaxy shifted, because one human dared to do what no one else would. The smoke of the ruined battlefield still clung to the air when Marcus helped the princess to her feet. Her steps were weak, unsteady, and every movement sent a jolt of pain through her body. Yet for the first time since her betrayal, she was no longer pinned to the earth. The cursed swords that had marked her disgrace were gone. She leaned heavily on Marcus, her silver eyes flickering with both exhaustion and disbelief. "You should not have touched them," she whispered. "Those blades, they are not meant to be lifted." Marcus only shrugged, though his arm still trembled from the burning pain the weapons had left behind. "You were dying. Leaving them in would have finished the job. Someone had to try." Her gaze lingered on him. He spoke as if the impossible were ordinary, as if breaking ancient curses and defying alien traditions were nothing more than fixing a broken machine. Humans, she realized, were unlike any species she had ever known, but weakness pulled at her. Her legs gave out and Marcus caught her before she could fall. He gently lowered her onto a piece of fallen stone. "You need care," he said. He opened a pouch from his scavenger kit and pulled out small medical tools, most of them human-made but patched together with alien tech. His hands worked quickly, cleaning the deep wounds left by the blades. The princess winced as he pressed a clotting gel against her back. "You dare touch me as if I am common flesh?" she said, her voice sharp despite the pain. Marcus smirked faintly beneath his helmet. "Flesh is flesh. Bleeds the same, heals the same. You're no different than me right now. Just hurt." The princess was silent at first. No one in her empire had ever spoken to her that way. Soldiers bowed, servants obeyed, even generals feared her title. But this human, he treated her like a person, not a throne. "What is your name, human?" she asked finally. "Marcus." He tightened a bandage across her back. "And you?" Her eyes hardened as if part of her still resisted the idea of sharing. But then she said quietly, "I am Liara, daughter of the High Sovereign, betrayed heir of the Kailari throne." Marcus paused, the name sinking in. He had heard it before in whispers across human outposts. Liara, the warrior princess who led fleets, who was said to never lose a duel. And now here she was, half broken in his care. "You don't sound surprised," she said, watching his calm face. "I don't care about titles," Marcus replied. "Only whether you want to live." That answer left her silent once more. The hours passed slowly. Marcus built a small shelter among the wreckage, using broken ship plating for walls and a portable heater from his pack. The fires outside painted the night sky red, and distant explosions rumbled like fading thunder. Inside the makeshift shelter, Liara rested while Marcus kept watch. He held one of the swords across his knees. Its surface glowed faintly, the runes shifting like liquid light. "You should not hold it," Liara said, her voice weak but steady. "That weapon belongs only to the chosen bloodline." Marcus studied the blade. It felt strange in his hand, heavy yet alive, like it resisted him but also waited for something. "Well, it didn't burn me to ashes, so maybe it doesn't mind me holding it." Liara frowned. "You do not understand. These swords are more than weapons. They are judgment. To remove them is to claim their burden. They may yet decide your fate." Marcus set the sword down beside him. "Then let them judge me later. For now, I'll use them if I need to. Liara's lips curved in something almost like a smile. You are reckless. Perhaps that is why you survived when so many others would not. Night deepened, and Marcus's visor detected movement on the edges of the ruins. He cursed softly. What is it? Liara asked, pushing herself up. Drones, Marcus replied. Not scavenger ones, military. Someone's looking for you. Her eyes darkened. The generals. They will not allow me to live. They will chase until my body is ash. Marcus grabbed the second sword and strapped it to his back. Then we better move. She tried to stand, but her body betrayed her again, trembling with weakness. Marcus lifted her arm over his shoulder, supporting her as they left the shelter and slipped into the shadows of broken walls. The drones swept the ruins, their searchlights cutting through smoke. Marcus moved carefully, every step calculated, his eyes scanning for cover. He had done this many times while scavenging, but never with a wounded princess at his side. At one point, a drone hovered close, its sensors sweeping toward them. Marcus pressed Liara against a collapsed wall, his hand over her mouth to keep her silent. The machine whirred inches above them, then drifted away. When it was gone, Liara whispered, You risk your life for me, human. Why, you owe me nothing. Marcus didn't answer right away. His eyes followed the lights moving in the distance. Then he said simply, Because leaving you here feels wrong, and I don't like walking away from what's wrong. Those words struck her harder than any blade. They made it to an underground passage, half collapsed but still usable. Marcus guided Liara through, the faint hum of enemy patrols echoing behind them. The deeper they went, the quieter it became, until only their footsteps and the dripping of water filled the air. Finally, when they reached a hidden chamber, Marcus set her down to rest again. You should go, Liara said softly. If you stay with me, their wrath will find you too. You are one man. You cannot fight an empire. Marcus looked at her, his expression steady. Maybe not, but I can help one person. And right now, that person is you. She stared at him, stunned by the simplicity of his words. In her world, everything was politics, strategy, and power. No one ever did anything without a reason. Yet this human acted without promise of reward, without thought of gain. He acted only because it was right. It was defiance, not against her enemies, but against the cruelty of the galaxy itself. Liara lowered her gaze, her voice softer than it had ever been. Perhaps I was wrong to call you a fool. Marcus smirked faintly, checking the charge on his old human blaster. Don't worry. I've been called worse. For the first time since her betrayal, Liara let out a quiet laugh. It was small, fragile, but real. And in that moment, something unspoken passed between them. The swords might have cursed her. Her empire might have betrayed her. But here in the dark ruins, a human had chosen to stand by her. That choice, she realized, was more powerful than any throne. Outside, the patrols tightened their net. The generals wanted her corpse, and they would not stop until they had it. But they had not counted on a human, stubborn, reckless, and unyielding, who had already done the impossible, and Marcus was far from finished. The night outside was dark and silent, but danger was never far from the fallen princess and the human who dared to save her. Marcus led Liara through narrow tunnels beneath the ruins. Every step was careful, every sound measured. The patrol drones above had not stopped searching, and the generals would not rest until they reclaimed what they believed was theirs. Liara's body was still weak. Her muscles trembled with each step, and every movement reminded her of the two swords that had pierced her back. Marcus kept her close, supporting her as they navigated the maze-like passageways. You are stronger than you look, Marcus said. Noticing her struggle, Liara shook her head, her silver eyes reflecting both pain and shame. You do not understand. I am supposed to be invincible. The Kalari expect their heirs to endure anything, yet here I am. Helped by a human, Marcus glanced at her. Maybe invincible doesn't mean untouched. Maybe it means surviving when everything wants to kill you. She frowned but did not reply. There was truth in his words, though it was hard for her to admit. She had trained her entire life to be a warrior, to command fleets, to inspire fear. Yet now she realized strength alone had not saved her. The tunnels opened into an abandoned docking bay, the ceiling high and the walls lined with cracked and broken machinery. Shadows stretched across the floor, hiding the debris left behind from long-forgotten battles. Marcus lowered Liara to a crouch, scanning the area. Too quiet, he muttered. That usually means trouble, Liara nodded. The generals would not give up. They will send soldiers, or worse, bounty hunters. They will think nothing of spilling blood for their own gain. Marcus tapped the hilt of the sword at his back. Then let them come. They'll find we are harder to kill than they think. For the first time, Liara felt something she had not felt in weeks, a glimmer of confidence. Not because she had regained her position or power, but because this human stood beside her. He was reckless, yes, but his courage was unwavering. Humans, she realized, were different. They did not rely on titles or rituals. They relied on will. The sound came before they saw it. The hum of engines, and the whir of hovercraft skimming over the cracked concrete of the docking bay. Marcus pulled Liara behind a rusted transport vessel, the shadow hiding them just in time. They are fast, he whispered. Stay low. Liara nodded, gripping his arm for support. She watched as a squad of Kalari soldiers entered, their armor gleaming faintly in the dim lights. They moved in precise formation, scanning every corner. Marcus's jaw tightened. They know we're here, but we're not sitting ducks. He handed Liara a small energy pistol he had scavenged. Here, you may need this. She looked at the weapon uncertainly. I do not use guns. You'll learn, Marcus said, his voice calm but firm. Right now it's about surviving. The soldiers advanced, moving closer to their hiding spot. The hum of their armor and the soft clank of their weapons echoed across the docking bay. Marcus counted their steps, waited for the right moment. When the first soldier passed their hiding spot, he struck. A small, precise burst from his pistol hit the targeting sensor on the soldier's armor, causing a spark and confusion. Marcus grabbed Liara's hand and pulled her into the shadows, moving silently but swiftly. The Kalari soldiers cursed, their formation breaking as they tried to locate the intruders. Marcus led Liara through a series of maintenance corridors, old service tunnels that had long been abandoned. You move like a shadow, Liara whispered, astonished. I have never seen anyone fight and move like that. Marcus smiled faintly. You survive by learning quickly. Humans adapt. It's how we last this long. She studied him, a mix of admiration and disbelief in her eyes. Humans were fragile in appearance, yet his actions showed something else entirely. Determination, cleverness, and fearlessness. She had expected only death and betrayal in the world beyond her palace. Yet this human defied everything she knew. Hours passed as they moved through the abandoned structures, avoiding patrols, navigating debris, and hiding from searchlights. Marcus kept her moving even when her body begged for rest. At one point, they reached a high ledge overlooking the ruined city below. Fires burned in scattered buildings, and the silhouettes of enemy patrols moved through the streets like shadows. Liara sank to her knees, exhausted. They will find us eventually, she said softly. We cannot run forever. Marcus crouched beside her, placing a hand on her shoulder. We won't run forever. We'll fight when the time comes, but right now we survive. That is our first victory. Liara looked at him. You are impatient. You do not panic. I have never met anyone like you. He grinned faintly despite the tension around them. Humans are stubborn. That's our best weapon. She studied his face, the lines of fatigue and focus, and for the first time, she allowed herself a thought that had seemed impossible. Trust. She trusted this human, perhaps more than anyone she had ever known. The sound of approaching engines shattered the quiet. Marcus stood quickly, pulling Liara to her feet. Hovercraft descended into the streets below, their searchlights sweeping the ruins. They are closing in, Marcus said. We have to move now. Liara nodded, her warrior instincts kicking in. Pain still shot through her back, but she pushed it aside. She would not be a burden. She would fight alongside him. They descended the ledge carefully, using collapsed walls and twisted metal as cover. Marcus led her through narrow alleys and ruined streets, moving faster than her weakened body seemed capable of. The Kalari soldiers below cursed, realizing their prey was slipping through their fingers. Hours turned into an endless chase. Liara's strength ebbed, but Marcus kept her going, offering support and encouragement. You can do this, he said. Just one step at a time. Eventually, they reached the edge of the city where a small shuttle lay hidden in the shadows. Marcus had scavenged it days before, and it was still functional. This will get us out, he said, helping Liara aboard. The engines hummed to life, lifting the shuttle silently into the night sky. As they rose above the ruined city, Liara looked down at the fires and destruction below. She had thought her world was ending. that death and betrayal had claimed her forever. Yet here she was, alive and carried by a human who had risked everything to save her. "You," she whispered. "I do not know how to repay you." Marcus shook his head. "No need, just survive. That is enough." For the first time since her betrayal, Liara allowed herself to relax. She leaned back in the shuttle seat, her body aching but her spirit lighter. She had survived the impossible, not because of her bloodline or power, but because a human had dared to defy death itself. Outside, the stars stretched endlessly, a vast universe of danger and possibility. Liara realized that her story was far from over. The generals would not stop. The Empire was still fractured. But now, she had an ally who could change everything. And in that ally she saw not just courage, but something even rarer. Hope. The shuttle disappeared into the void, leaving the ruined city behind. The night was silent once more, but in the darkness, two figures prepared to face a galaxy that had underestimated them both. Marcus looked at Liara, a faint smile on his face. "We're not safe yet," he said. Liara nodded, her silver eyes shining. "No, but together, we might be unstoppable." For the first time since the swords had pierced her back, she believed it. And the galaxy would soon learn that a human and a princess, bound by courage and defiance, were forces not to be ignored. The shuttle hummed softly as it drifted through the empty expanse of space. Inside, Liara leaned back, exhausted but alert, her silver eyes fixed on the human beside her. Marcus sat across from her, polishing the two swords he had pulled from her back. Their surfaces still shimmered faintly, the alien runes moving like liquid fire. "I don't understand these weapons," Marcus admitted. "They're alive in some way. Like they react to thoughts and feelings." Liara's gaze sharpened. "They are not just weapons," she said. Her voice was quiet, but every word carried weight. "Those swords are ancient relics of the Kalari Empire. They were forged not to be wielded by anyone but to judge. Only the worthy may remove them. Only the chosen may claim their power." Marcus looked up, frowning. "Chosen, you mean like someone with the right bloodline?" Liara nodded. "Yes. Only one of royal blood should have been able to survive touching them. Anyone else should have died instantly when they pierced my back. That you removed them, it is extraordinary." Marcus leaned back, incredulous. "So you're telling me a human just survived what your empire says should have killed me?" "Yes," she said, her eyes wide with disbelief. "No Kalari would dare. No one would survive." And yet, her voice trailed off as she studied him. He set the swords down gently as if they were fragile, yet something in their glow seemed to respond to him. A faint pulse ran along the hilts, and for the first time Liara noticed it. The runes weren't only alive, they were aware. "You feel that?" she asked softly. "The swords. They are recognizing you." Marcus tilted his head. "Recognizing me? I don't even belong to your empire." Liara shook her head. "No, that is why this is so dangerous. These swords choose their master. Whoever wields them can influence the empire itself. The Kalari generals would kill to control them. And now, they might see you as their new champion." Marcus's jaw tightened. "Champion? I didn't ask for any of this. I just saved you." Liara studied him again, a faint smile forming. "Perhaps that is what makes you worthy. Not your birth, not your training, but your courage. You defied death to save me. That is the essence of true strength." Marcus shook his head, still wary. "I don't want power. I just want to survive and get you out of danger." Liara's smile softened. "And yet you now carry the potential to change everything. The Empire might rally behind you if they knew." Marcus frowned, the weight of her words sinking in. "I'm not interested in being a ruler. I don't even know your people. I just know one thing. If the generals find you, we're both dead." Liara's expression hardened, her warrior instincts returning. "Then we must act carefully. The swords give us power, but also make us a target. If the generals realize what has happened, they will hunt us relentlessly." Outside, the stars streaked past as the shuttle drifted silently through a quiet sector. Marcus studied the two swords, his fingers brushing their hilts again. Something stirred within them, faint vibrations that echoed like a heartbeat. "Do you think they'll accept me?" he asked quietly. "Even if I survive them, I'm not Kalari. I'm just a human." Liara shook her head. "They will not accept you, not easily. But the swords themselves may demand loyalty. If they recognize you as worthy, Others may follow, even against their own generals. Marcus sighed, rubbing the back of his neck. I didn't save you for this. I didn't sign up for an empire. And yet, Liara said, her voice firm now, you may have just changed its fate. Hours passed as they planned their next move. Liara's body was still weak, but her mind was sharp. She studied maps of the Kalari Empire, showing Marcus where the generals' fleets were stationed and where loyal soldiers still remained. They will expect me to flee to the outer worlds, she said. But if we go there, the generals will trap us easily. Instead, we must use the element of surprise. Strike where they do not expect. Marcus nodded. And the swords? He asked. How do they help? Liara leaned forward. They are more than weapons. They are symbols of judgment.
Any Kailari who sees them in your hands will hesitate.
Some may even join us, believing the Empire itself has chosen a new leader. Marcus frowned. You mean just holding them could make your enemies second guess? Liara nodded. Exactly. But it is also a risk. If they decide you are unworthy, if the swords turn against you, her voice faltered. It could be fatal. Marcus glanced at the glowing runes. He could feel something strange, like the swords responded to his determination. They pulsed faintly when he touched them, almost as if encouraging him. I don't care about the risk, he said finally. I saved you once. I'll do it again if I have to. Liara's silver eyes softened, a mixture of gratitude and awe. You are unlike any human I have ever known. Your courage is remarkable. Not courage, Marcus corrected. Stubbornness. That's all humans have. We refuse to give up even when everything tells us to die. She studied him, realizing that his words were true. Humans did not follow codes or traditions. They created their own path through sheer will. And that will was unstoppable. Their quiet planning was interrupted by a sudden alert from the shuttle's sensors. Marcus leaned over the control panel, eyes narrowing. Drones, he muttered. Small, fast, and heading straight for us. They must have tracked our jump point. Liara's expression hardened. Then we must act. We cannot allow them to catch us now. Not when the swords have chosen you? Marcus gripped the hilts of the swords, feeling the subtle hum of their power. Ready? He asked. Liara nodded. Always. The shuttle accelerated, diving through the asteroid field that surrounded the sector. The drones followed, but Marcus used every trick he knew. Sudden turns, false jumps, and rapid maneuvers to shake them off. The sword seemed to pulse in his hands with every evasive move, as if sensing his determination. Not bad for a human, Liara said, gripping the seat tightly. You adapt quickly, Marcus smirked. I told you, humans are stubborn. Adaptation is what we do best. The drones swarmed closer, firing warning shots that burned past the shuttle's hull. Marcus dodged expertly, using the debris to shield them. One drone tried to ram the shuttle, but Marcus swung one of the swords out of instinct. The hilt glowed faintly and an energy pulse erupted, disabling the drone instantly. Liara stared in shock. The swords. They are responding to you. You are wielding them without training. Marcus shrugged, his focus never leaving the controls. Maybe they just like stubborn people. Hours later, after shaking the drones and finding a hidden jump point, the shuttle entered a remote system far from the Kailari fleet. Liara collapsed in her seat, exhausted but alive. Marcus set the swords carefully on the floor beside them. They are powerful, Liara whispered. More than I ever realized. You are not just surviving them, you are connecting with them. It is unprecedented. Marcus looked at her. I didn't choose this power. I didn't even ask for it. But if it helps keep you alive, I'll use it. That's all I care about. Liara studied him, her expression softening. You have changed everything. You have defied death, defied tradition, and defied the Empire itself. And yet you remain human. That is what terrifies our enemies most. Marcus leaned back, exhausted but resolute. Then we keep moving. The generals won't stop. We need to find allies, understand these swords, and survive. That's our only plan for now. Outside, the stars stretched endlessly, a vast expanse of space filled with danger, opportunity, and uncertainty. Liara realized that the swords, once symbols of shame and judgment, had become a link between human courage and Kailari power. And Marcus, a stubborn human, was the key. The galaxy was about to notice. The distant stars sparkled coldly as the shuttle approached the outer edge of the Kailari Empire. Marcus piloted with steady hands, keeping Liara beside him as she studied maps and fleet positions. The generals had not stopped searching for them, and intelligence reports indicated that a large fleet was converging on their location. "This won't be easy," Liara said, her voice quiet but firm. "They outnumber us 10-1, and they will expect no one to stand against them." Marcus leaned back in his seat, fingers brushing the hilts of the two swords beside him. "We're not like them. We don't fight by tradition or fear. We fight to survive and protect. That's our advantage." Liara's silver eyes met his. "You truly are unlike any human I've met. Even my own people, with all their training and power, would hesitate where you charge forward." Marcus shrugged faintly. "Sometimes hesitation gets you killed. Humans survive because we act when others wait. And right now, we act together." The shuttle dropped out of hyperspace near a remote asteroid field, a hidden base Marcus had discovered during one of his scavenging runs. He guided it into a cavern carved into a massive asteroid. Inside, the walls glittered faintly with crystalline minerals reflecting the shuttle's soft lights. "This is impressive," Liara murmured, looking around. "You've survived in this universe longer than most Kalari fleets ever could." "I'm impressed by your preparation," Marcus smiled faintly. "Humans are creative when we need to be. But we're only prepared for so long. The generals will come and we need a plan to survive them." Liara nodded. "Then we strike where they least expect. The Kalari respect strength, yes, but they also fear unpredictability. That is where we can turn the tide." They spent the next hours preparing. Marcus repaired and upgraded the shuttle's weapons, integrating alien technology scavenged from the battlefield. Liara trained lightly, testing her weakened strength with small drills and stretches. The two swords sat between them, glowing faintly, as if aware of the preparations and encouraging them silently. "The swords are responding to you," Liara said finally, watching Marcus pick one up and hold it carefully. "Even without training, they resonate with your will." "I just don't give up," Marcus replied simply. "Seems they like that." Liara shook her head, a faint smile touching her lips. "The Kalari will not anticipate this. A human wielding the ancient swords. It is unthinkable. That is our advantage." The calm did not last. A sensor alert indicated an incoming fleet, massive and coordinated. Marcus and Liara moved quickly, loading weapons and preparing the shuttle for combat. Outside the cavern, enemy ships began scanning the asteroid field, the hum of their engines growing louder. Liara gripped the hilt of one sword. Marcus held the other. Together they stepped into the shuttle's cockpit, their determination unshakable. "They expect a fleeing princess," Liara said. "They do not expect two warriors to fight back." "Use that," Marcus nodded. "I've never liked being predictable." The enemy fleet advanced, firing warning shots that streaked across the asteroid field. Marcus maneuvered the shuttle with skill and precision, dodging debris while returning small volleys of energy fire. Liara coordinated with him, directing their attacks and timing their strikes. "It's working," she said quietly, astonished. "They hesitate. They do not know how to handle this." Marcus smirked. "Humans always find a way." The battle escalated quickly. Enemy fighters swarmed around them, attempting to board or disable the shuttle. Marcus and Liara moved like shadows, their combined skill and determination creating a perfect blend of offense and defense. When one fighter attempted to ram them, Marcus swung the sword instinctively. It glowed faintly, and a burst of energy repelled the attacker, sending it spinning into the asteroid. Liara mirrored his movements, striking with precision that combined her warrior training and instinctive timing learned from Marcus. The general's fleet paused in shock. No Kalari had ever fought like this. No one wielded the swords outside the royal bloodline, and yet these two moved with deadly coordination and uncanny adaptability. Liara's eyes shone with admiration. "You are incredible, human." "Your instincts. They are flawless." Marcus shook his head. "No instincts. Just persistence. You adapt. You learn. That's all humans do." Together, they cleared the immediate threats, taking down several enemy fighters while avoiding fatal damage to their shuttle. The generals watched from their flagship, disbelief etched on their faces. "This is impossible," one of them muttered. "No human should survive the swords, let alone wield them." With the immediate fighters neutralized, Marcus plotted a course directly toward the general's fleet. Liara raised an eyebrow. "You plan to attack the flagship?" she asked. Marcus shrugged. "They underestimate us. We've already broken their expectations once. Let's do it again." Liara nodded, a faint smile on her lips. "Then we strike together." As they approached the flagship, enemy fire intensified. Shields flared under the assault, but Marcus skillfully piloted through gaps in the barrage. Liara's sword glowed, sensing threats before they arrived, guiding their timing. When the shuttle was close enough, Marcus opened the outer doors. Liara leapt into the void, swords in hand, landing on the flagship with perfect balance. Marcus followed closely, their combined momentum making them almost unstoppable. Inside, chaos erupted. Guards rushed toward them, but the two warriors moved with unparalleled coordination. Marcus fought with raw ingenuity, using unexpected maneuvers that no Kailari would anticipate. Liara struck with precision and honor, her movements perfectly synchronized with Marcus's. Every strike they made inspired hesitation among the guards. They had expected a fleeing princess, not a human, and a weakened royal fighting side by side with deadly skill. The generals watched from the command room, growing desperate. "Stop them," one shouted. "They cannot be allowed to reach the throne." But Marcus and Liara advanced steadily, overcoming every obstacle with courage, speed, and strategy. The swords pulsed with energy in their hands, amplifying their power and presence. The generals' forces faltered, unable to predict their moves. Finally, Marcus and Liara reached the command chamber. The generals, faces pale with disbelief, realized they were beaten, not by numbers, not by strategy, but by human persistence and the unexpected unity between human ingenuity and Kalari skill. Liara raised her sword, Marcus at her side, and the generals surrendered. The battle, which had seemed hopeless, ended in triumph for the unlikely duo. After the fight, Liara and Marcus stood amidst the defeated forces. Soldiers and officers alike looked at them with awe. The swords, once symbols of shame and judgment, now shone as beacons of unity and courage. "You have done the impossible," Liara said, her silver eyes fixed on Marcus. No one in the Empire believed this could happen. Yet here we stand, Marcus smiled faintly. Not impossible, just stubborn. Humans survive because we refuse to quit. Liara studied him, realization dawning. The Empire will remember this. They will remember the human who dared to defy death, defy tradition, and stand by a princess. Marcus shrugged. "I didn't do it for fame. I did it because it was right." She nodded, a soft smile on her lips. "Then you are not only brave, you are extraordinary. The Kailari will never forget this day." The two swords pulsed faintly in their hands, their energy quiet now, as if resting after the storm. Liara realized that the human beside her had changed the course of the Empire. Not through power, but through courage, defiance, and unwavering loyalty, and the galaxy, she knew, would soon take notice. The battle was won, but the war was not over. The generals had retreated, plotting revenge. The Empire was fractured, and countless threats still lurked. But Marcus and Liara now had something more powerful than weapons or fleets: trust, courage, and the bond forged in the fires of battle. As they looked out at the stars from the flagship, Liara realized that her path forward was clear. She would reclaim her empire, but this time with a human by her side. Marcus, ever humble, adjusted the sword in his hand. "We keep moving," he said simply. "The galaxy isn't waiting for anyone, and neither are the generals," Liara smiled. "No, but together we are unstoppable. And together, human ingenuity and Kalari skill prepared to change the fate of an empire forever."